Nobody's listening, right?
Hi, Andy.
Hello.
Is anybody listening?
It's almost like these keep getting more exciting to me, if that's even possible. The big news is this, though.
Okay.
And this might not be something that we see on iTunes, although you can let me know that later, Elizabeth, or maybe you already know. Last week, I don't think we had hit 2K at reviews, unless I said, did we say that we had hit 2,000 reviews? I didn't say that last week, did I?
No.
We're 2,030 reviews this week.
What a threshold.
It's crazy. So I'm really excited about that. Here we go. 5 stars. Listening from Italy. This is from Bailey. Italia. Hoping to add another pin to your map.
You know it.
You're going to see it real soon, probably this week or next on social media. Keep your eyes out. Listening from Northern Italy and sending my love. I enjoy the show so much. Thanks, Monica, for sending me y'all's way. Thank you, Saint Monica.
Thank you, Saint Monica.
This is one of my favorite from B-Mosh. 5 stars. If someone told me they don't like this podcast, I could no longer associate with them.
Whoa!
Holy shit.
I love that.
Saint Monica brought me over here.
That's loyalty.
But the two of you made me stay. Thank you for sharing your loving and perfect, beautiful relationship and life with us. We are grateful. Jeez Louise. It keeps going and going and going. This one, I haven't even read this one, but the caption's getting me 5 stars. My new best friends.
Oh.
Although I'm a Spotify listener, I had to come over here to write a review.
Oh, okay. This is like
You're our new
level.
best friend. That's crazy.
You are our new best friend. Thank you for doing that.
I'm 19 years old and started listening a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
I've caught up on all the episodes and I'm loving Patreon. To the wonderful Elizabeth and Andy, my new best friends. It's so comforting to know that Elizabeth is so open about her meds, and I truly wish her the best of wishes with those. I started my journey with antidepressants 5 years ago, and it's been a battle, but I truly feel satisfied at this point. I don't know if the meds or this podcast that cures my depression and anxiety, but anyways, couldn't be happier with these two. Nothing but love from this young adult in Iowa, from Ronnie. That is so sweet.
That is so amazing. Thank you, Ronnie.
One more here. This one speaks to me. Oy vey. The note already. This is from Kikib. Did I miss something? Did I ever read the note? I need to know what the note actually says.
Oh, I think you may have missed it. It was buried in the note tail, but the note said, "Park in your underline 3 times." We should have posted that, Andy.
Well, I was okay.
Park in front of your house is what it said.
And I was thinking, like, I initially had that same gut thing, but I was like, is it messed up? Is it weird posting it if for a crazy reason our neighbors like listen to the podcast, which I guess this whole thing would be thrilling for them potentially, this whole saga. I want to just bury this real quick. This is going to take 2 minutes for the note update.
Okay.
I told my lovely wife this recently. In my heart of hearts, I actually kind of think I know who it is. And their rep has kind of been cleared by someone in their life, but my gut tells me it's probably them. And I'm okay with that. I understand it. And until I get a writing sample from this person, which is my new next goal, I will never know for sure. So if anyone does have any ideas of how to get a writing sample, because if I get a writing sample with this person,
Andy, you are next. I mean, it is distinct, truly next level.
There is no way without a writing sample that it would be definitive, because the note there's a style to it.
There is a style to it. I think it's the same person you think it is.
Yeah.
And I actually wonder, a listener DM'd this to me. I wonder if they didn't realize it was your car, but thought it was someone else's. And once they got wind of it being yours, were embarrassed. And that's why the news relayed back to us was it's not them.
I like that theory.
Yeah.
The other theory I'm working with is just that this other person in their house, like it was a situation I spoke about before where one person knows about the note in the family, but the other doesn't.
Yeah.
And I think it's that situation. And I think I reached out to the other person who was like, then might have brought it up in the house and was like, you left the note, and now they're all embarrassed.
Yeah. I think that's right.
Anyways, that's our thing. Until I get a writing sample, Please don't expect any more updates. And hopefully we haven't wasted too much time with this saga.
I want to do a health update because people have been asking me a few health update things, but should I save that for the end? Probably.
I don't know, but let's do it right now. We're here.
We have a lot to discuss today.
Okay.
First of all, let me just say this. We're recording from our cabin. It is delightful up here. It is snowing like a mofo, but not like fun snow. It's like icy snow, but it's very pretty to look at out the window. I'm looking at it right now through our dusty construction window.
It is snowing. That's nice.
I do want to say, Andy, we had some tension this morning, as couples do sometimes. We talked through it, and I feel like reached a place, hopefully, we both felt pretty good about.
Yeah.
But still, there's tension. But then you and I took on a massive project.
Oh, I thought you were saying still there's tension now. And I was like, I don't feel any tension.
Oh, no,
right
I
now.
feel no tension whatsoever.
Yeah,
I feel nothing but like connectedness and happiness.
Horniness. Is that just coming from this side of
Andy,
the table?
we haven't Christianed this cabin.
No, I know. It's going to be a while, I think.
It might be a little while. So anyway, I was just thinking, I'm really proud of us because first of all, talking through something is great, but that doesn't always like leave all parties feeling like zippity doo dah.
Sure.
But then we tackled this major undertaking. We cleaned out, this cabin has been a construction zone for 2 years.
Yep.
We had a bunch of stuff that we got right at the moment we bought this cabin thinking we're moving in tomorrow. We just need to clean it.
Yeah.
And there is 2 years of construction dust all over all of this shit.
Yeah.
All of it. I mean, this is a whole room filled with this stuff. And you and I went through it, threw out what we didn't want, vacuumed down and wiped down 2 years worth of insane dust. I feel like I'm a dust bunny. And you and I are a really good team. And it made me think maybe that's something we can turn to in the future anytime there's like tension or whatever.
Like cleaning role play?
I'm off
work
the
role play?
sex. I'm off the sex part that you're still on. Just working together to tackle a project.
Yeah.
I feel like is a great way to reconnect.
Oh, that's great.
And I feel so accomplished.
Yeah, I think what you said is right, but also there is just that good feeling of just getting good sweaty work, dusty work done.
Yeah, there is.
You know?
I have always loved physical labor.
Yeah.
And my first job ever as a 16-year-old was incredibly physically demanding.
Yeah.
Do you know what it was? I worked at Waterways Car Wash.
I'm listening.
And I half got the job because there were really cute guys who worked there. And then I half got the job because I love doing physical work. And I was like, this is great. I'll be working. I'll be sweating. I had my Dickies and my Waterways, shout out Waterways in St. Louis, car wash blue t-shirt.
A blue t-shirt and Dickies
blue
pants?
Blue Dickies.
Oh, sick.
And I tucked my t-shirt in case you're wondering.
Not the outfit I was completely hoping for, but respectable.
But, and we were talking with our daughter about how there's this weird phenomenon when you're snowboarding. And it's similar to like a day at the beach. Food tastes so much better after a day of snowboarding.
It's like camping.
Yeah, there's something about
You'll eat
that?
anything. You're just hungry. You'll eat anything.
And it tastes so good. And
So good.
working a day after working a shift at Waterways, I would get like a huge sandwich, and it would be like this is what I remember about the job. But I'd be so sweaty, so fatigued. I loved that
So
physical
wet.
labor. And then, so wet. God, you really are in a mindset. So, and then, when you and I met, I was waitressing, which was just, it wasn't that, it was a lot of walking around and stuff. But then I got the job as terrace gardener and florist. That was incredibly physically demanding.
Yeah.
And again, the food tasted better.
Huh.
What's that about?
I think it's just your body wants that nourishment. So it all just tastes so
It tastes
good.
so good.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do love that. So that was one thing I wanted to cover. Another thing, let me just do health corner and get it out of the way. Okay. 2 things. I started Wellbutrin last Sunday. Our listeners have heard that I went off it and I was struggling with the idea of being on it forever. Got so many amazing messages. Truly have come to the conclusion, like, this is like an allergy medication for me. And I wanted to ask you, Andy, although given this morning, I don't know how you'll respond, but have you noticed a difference in me in the last week?
Not really, I don't think.
Okay.
Have you noticed a difference in you?
I have noticed such a huge difference in myself.
Really?
And what was crazy, I almost posted about it last Saturday. I took it first on Saturday, so it's been exactly a week. Within hours, I felt 100% like more myself. My brain didn't feel like scattershot. I felt like in a much better mood.
Yeah.
And in fact, I feel like there have been times this week where you've thought I was in a bad mood.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I've been in a good mood, but I wonder if you're just kind of carrying over from,
I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway, I felt like I've been in a really good mood and pleasant to be around.
Amazing.
And yeah, so it was just really validated because I thought, oh, I might have to go back on. It might take a few weeks and then I'll start to notice a subtle change.
Okay.
It was an instant, massive shift.
And besides the stuff that you just listed off, are there any other characteristics a week in that you can kind of name, sort of, or?
I think I'm sleeping better.
Interesting. You know, it's funny. I felt like I was in a worse mood this past week because it was our first week getting back to the new schedule, kids back at school and getting up at like 6:45.
Yeah.
Whereas the whole break, I was sleeping till 8:30.
Yeah.
Which I think is what my body normally wants.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt off all week.
Oh, yeah.
But sleep's crazy. But that's amazing if you're sleeping better.
I think so. And it's hard to explain, but it's, oh, you know what? I think the right word for it is irritability. I don't feel as irritable. And I might have been masking it really well while I was off Wellbutrin.
Yeah.
But so maybe then there's not really a difference from the outside, but my internal world feels much more pleasant.
Oh, fuck, that's amazing.
I know. The other update, someone messaged me and I realized I hadn't really spoken to it because she said she has similar back problems. And she's like, it seems like you went from, I might have to have this invasive surgery to like, I'm totally fine. And I would say I'm not 100% fine. And maybe I won't ever be, but I'm definitely like solidly 87% fine.
Yeah, you seem so much better.
And I'm actually better than I ever was post-surgery before it got worse. You've noticed that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, even today, this whole thing we did, it's kind of, it's calling out a little bit right now, but after a day like today, I would have been kind of laid up for another day or two.
Yeah.
What I did, honestly, it was really just PT. And also I think this time around, I really knew what to avoid to let things heal.
Yeah.
Like really took it easy, no bending, lifting, twisting. I was back in bed anytime it started to ache a little bit. I was working from bed. My poor coworkers are so used to seeing up my nostrils. But I think being really careful and not pushing it. And then PT. And this time I splurged and I got a PT. She happens to be in Pasadena. Shout out Dr. Maddie at Elevated Physical Therapy. I've never had a good experience with PT. It's always like you're getting passed around and people don't really know. And sometimes it would make things worse oftentimes for me.
Yeah.
You were working with Dr. Maddie one-on-one for the entire hour in her studio. And I did that twice a week for 3 months. And then I moved down to once a week for another month or two. That is, to me, what did it.
And now you're getting that Pilates game too. I think
Now
all
I'm
of
doing
it
Pilates.
together.
And the other thing I wanted to say is I did her exercise recommendations to a T.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do more and I didn't do less. And that's a big thing, I think.
I think what's super interesting about it is I don't think you would be ashamed, or I don't know if that's the right word to say, though. I think there's a part of this journey that you were like, fucking PT's bullshit. Like when it comes to back stuff, right?
Truly. And actually, I didn't even do it post-surgery because my experience had been so bad that I was like, I think this is just going to make it worse.
Which I feel like, unfortunately, I was talking to my buddy John about this, who had the exact same experience of you, of being like, he was in this crazy pain and went to the crazy expensive person in Manhattan that he had to get on the train to go to. You know, it was a pain in the ass, but it really helped for a year. Mm-hmm. And then after that, and I think like COVID stuff, and then was like, I'm not doing it for a while, and then like settled into like, you know, I'll go to this other place that's more convenient and like less expensive, and things got worse. You know what I mean? Which I'm not saying the more expensive thing is the better thing.
I think
saying
it's
that
the better care. And I think some people get very lucky in those places where you get passed around or whatever, if you find the person that you like or whatever. But, and I will say, I splurged on this, truly not having faith in it. I was like, I'll do this for 4 sessions to say I did, and then I will probably move forward with surgery. Which is crazy. I mean, it's such a different mindset from surgery. Surgery is not even on the table.
I think it's just a good thing to that you now have it in your toolbox.
Yes.
And that you were open to all of it.
Oh, and the other thing she did is massage, and it was like very specific and real good.
Nice.
But now I'm doing Pilates, and that's the other thing is like I'm in this Pilates class with all of these 30-something, sometimes 20-something, very cool, very tight-bodied gals. And I'm definitely the one that I make it very clear. I go in there, I tell the teacher, even if I've had them, like I'm the one, if you remember, I had spine surgery. And so I'll just great. Like, and so she's constantly giving me mods throughout the class, like everyone. So we're going to bridge. Elizabeth, you can blah, blah, blah.
When you tell the teacher that, do you say it loud so the whole class knows about the spine surgery?
There's no real avoiding it. Like,
no, I would want to do that if I was you.
Yeah,
then
everyone
you're like,
knows.
then everyone's
knows.
in on it instead
and
of.
Also, it's kind of an excuse. It's not just I'm 43 and
no, that's shape. Exactly what I'm saying. It's like you're saying like, hey, this is why I'm going to be getting these mods. So like, stop judging me, you hot little tasty, you know.
You hot, tight little. There have been a few guys in my class, and I'm like, I think back to, I forget which movie it was, but where the guy was telling the other guy, like, you should take dance because that's like, take lyrical dance. That's where all the girls are.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy is sitting there with all of these very attractive, cool women.
But does he have a chance? What's the move?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? How do you connect those dots? I think that's fun to go to the hot Pilates class. Yeah. But a whole other skill set to be able to pull that off. So
true. And I found myself like these teachers, I'm like, what's your story? Oftentimes in LA, I feel like people come here to pursue acting. And all the teachers are very attractive in that TV film kind of way. And I'm like, what's your life about? Like, I wish I knew, but they're all kind of aloof in a way that makes me really want them to like me.
Let me ask, this is like a really weird thing to do. I have had right now. I'm really happy with my hair. I love your hair stylist right now. Yes, person. They're great. They do not fall in this category that I'm going to speak about. But I've had, honestly, I can think of 3 right top of mind. But I think more than that. That like, you know, men's haircut is in LA anywhere from like $45 to $85, right? Mm-hmm. And a woman's haircut, way more than that, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like I've had so many of these stylists that are awesome and seemingly like very busy. They're always complaining about money to me. And,
what?
Yeah. And I'm like, how, like, this seems like a lucrative job to me. if you're working every day. But I'm like, are the salons like really fucking over these stylists with like how much it costs to like rent
the
space?
chair.
But do you know what I mean? I was like, but whenever this comes up, or like, you know, though, I get like all these stylists always have like the crazy roommate and all this stuff. I'm attracted to them.
But you have something about you that people, once they kind of, well, in this case, have you in their chair, but like, I feel like you have what's the word I'm looking for? There's a like price of entry with you sometimes. Mm-hmm. You're not like me, a desperate puppy where you're just letting everyone in all the time. You have a sense of dignity, and like there's a barrier for people to get through.
Sure.
But once they're in, I feel like people trust you. You have a very trusting,
I'm chill in that situation
experience.
too.
And I find that people often will like, what's the word? Confide things in you or talk to you about things where I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of jealous of it, but also I find
I think that you really have that too. You don't think you have that?
I think I can be disarming to people, but there's a difference in like someone I feel like trusts you and senses that telling you about this.
I'm not going to then talk about it on a podcast to a bunch of people.
But no, maybe it's because you're a very good listener and I don't know, you are just chill. Like
I think I'm chill and like no judge. I don't make any like judgy faces or any. I'm very just like chill about all of it.
Right.
But I'm like, how did, I don't even know how we got there, but I've just like, I'm always, anytime this happens, I'm always like, aren't you making so much money?
I don't think so. And also think about the cost of living in LA. I was thinking about this because of TV writers and like even like showrunner salaries, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But it's not a guarantee for you're like just balling, and it's weird. It's different than it used to be. And also I think the cost, like if you live in LA or New York, what you make, which is very tempting to be like, let's go live in Atlanta and live large.
But don't you think like if you're a good stylist, I think the math I'm doing in my head is like, oh, you could easily be billing $500 a day. You're not necessarily taking home $500 a day, but let's say you're billing $2,500 a week.
There's so much overhead. And also it's very competitive.
Yeah.
Like for, you said ladies haircuts. I mean, the person who cuts my hair.
What's the most expensive haircut you've ever gotten?
Oh, just a cut. Probably 300.
Now, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
That person that can charge that.
Yes.
That's been a gradual rise for them. Obviously, they're
very in demand.
They're very in demand. For how many of those stylists?
It was a good cut, I will say.
How long do you think it's sustainable to have that, to be charging $300 cut, right? Because you have to, like, that also means like you're having your moment sort of, right?
Yeah. And that's another thing is there's sort of a ceiling to it in a way that, in other industries there isn't, unless you started your own salon. And then, it started the pyramid scheme of basically building, it's not really a pyramid scheme, but building your business and having other hairstylists come work for you. But I think that the overhead is so crazy. But we talk about this, like, look at what actors make. When you say you could make $500 a day, an actor, I don't know what SAG minimum is, but let's say it's $1,000 a day, just for math.
Okay.
There are all of these unknown charges, fees. They have to pay their agents, lawyers, managers. That's 30%. Taxes, like, is a 20% off of that. Then also, like, all of the money that actors typically put in to get the gig, which is like, you don't have to do your hair and makeup for that part because there's hair and makeup, but you have to do hair and makeup for your auditions. You have to buy makeup. You have to buy hairstyling tools. You have to buy clothes. You have to look
do people
right.
Still do headshots?
Yes. I pretty much just see actors, tapes now.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming, there are probably headshots.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what made me think of that, but I always just think like being a hairstylist, if you liked chatting with people all day, it seems like it would be such a great job.
Oh man, that's the part of the job that I'm like, which is hilarious because I love to talk to people, but to be obligated to one-on-one and start over like the process of like, okay, we're going to start with small talk and then we're going to get into like asking 8 people every day, like, how was your summer? I just would lose my mind.
Yeah.
I love a hairstylist who just does not talk. And
whoa.
Oh yeah. And actually I have a friend who is an actor who gets their hair done all the time, who just puts a podcast on. And
for them both to listen to, or has like earbuds in?
So in this case, it's for both of them to listen to.
Oh, that's fun.
If there aren't like other people around. Right.
Anyways, that's hair catch up. We'll come back next week for more hair catch up.
Okay. I wanted to ask you the other day, and I preface this by like, no judgment. You're obviously the best dad in the world.
Yeah.
But like, I caught part of a conversation. I just want to ask if you know what was going on.
Yeah.
I heard you, I believe, explaining heroin to our daughter. And then I was like, why is he talking about heroin? And very clearly heard the word heroin and then heard you explaining heroin. And then I was like, Andy? And then Teddy was like, Mommy's calling you. And then I said, what are you talking about? And Teddy goes, drugs.
Drugs, yeah.
What was the context?
She was asking me about drugs.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly
It's our 8-year-old.
Yeah, what specifically it was. But I was getting in the weeds a little bit because she was like, well, drugs are like you buy at like the store. And I was like, yeah, there's a few different types of drugs. And I was trying to think of illicit drugs, and heroin was the first one I picked for some reason because like
what?
Weed seemed too
complex. It's hard to explain where it
because
is
they also might see it in the house or
yeah.
And so I was trying to think of like a bad drug.
Well, now we sound like bad parents. I don't think they would see it in the house. Like weed, we put up and away if we have any.
Yeah, but they might if they might hear. I mean, they could overhear us that we've done weed or whatnot.
Sure.
They're not overhearing us doing heroin.
Right.
So I used heroin as an example.
And what's heroin? I mean, that's what she's going to ask. And what's that?
I think I said it was like a really bad drug that can be very dangerous. I stressed how dangerous it can be.
Okay, that's good.
But I can't remember what else I said. But it wasn't that bad. But if I could go back, I probably wouldn't have picked heroin.
What would you have picked?
Maybe like PCP.
In doing my other podcast, plug the One Sure Thing.
Yeah.
There are these like studies about LSD.
Yeah.
And how LSD, I mean, there are like legit clinical trials at legit hospitals and universities of how LSD can be useful in treating terminally ill patients. And have you ever done LSD?
Fuck no.
And you wouldn't?
Never.
Why?
I've had two.
Microdose?
I would microdose shrooms, but I'm also saying that I've had a horrible trip on shrooms. Just horrible. So I'm very scared about those things in general. That being said, I think I would try the shroom thing, especially now that they're starting to, a few states, it's becoming legal. So there's going to be all these companies making chocolates and all that kind of stuff. I feel like we have a friend that can get the chocolates.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. So I'm open to that because you're not tripping. But there's also a lot of research on the mushrooms for depression. I saw a big headline last week about weight loss now. Like there is going to be this whole wave of like, how can mushrooms help everybody? Which I'm open to that a little bit, but I don't need I keep hearing hero dose. Is that when you trip your balls off?
I've never heard that.
I think hero dose
I don't
is
like
when
that.
you trip your balls off.
I do know how I feel like now that we have curious, inquisitive kids, I've found myself facing tough questions similar to your drug question,
Yeah.
where I don't know how well I'm answering it, and I kind of get like tripped up on myself, and it makes me think of like, you know, when Teddy, we've always used anatomically correct words.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back when Teddy was tiny, asking about things, that's your clitoris, whatever. Going out on a date, Teddy's 4, coming home, and the babysitter going, so no big deal, but Teddy asked to see my clitoris.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then having to explain, like, you know, and especially at their ages right now, explaining like no one should be talking about, looking at, touching, you know, your private parts unless it's mommy or daddy, if we're cleaning or tending to things, or a doctor, but only if mommy and daddy are there.
Right.
And like all of the caveats, it gets very dicey. And I feel like the more you talk about it, the more like weirded out they get about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to broach these conversations. I get why my parents had 0 of
They
them
also like have
with
been
me.
obsessed with swearing lately. So you were in the cabin, I was in the back place, and I was going to the bathroom, and they barged in while I was going to the bathroom. I was like, get out of here. Like, what are you doing? And they thought it was the funniest thing. And then I'm taking a shower, and they kept poking their head in the bathroom door and like yelling something. And I'm like, shut the door. Like, I want my privacy.
Get the fuck out.
It's getting cold in here. Like, I'm starting to get angry. And then one of them pops their head in like, you know, Otis said shit. And I'm like, okay. And then the other one said shit. And they just kept coming in saying like so-and-so said shit. And so after my shower, I got out and I walked out, and another one says shit again. I said, listen, no more shits.
Did you say shit?
Yeah. I say, we each get one more shit. I'll go first. Shit. And then I pointed at Teddy, and Teddy didn't say it. And so then I pointed at Otis, and Otis went shit. And then I pointed at Teddy, and Teddy said shit. And I said, that's it. We're done with it for the day. Okay.
For the day?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Tomorrow it's going to be like,
but
Daddy
then our
said.
daughter kept pushing it.
Oh, she
And
can't
that's
let
why
things
when
go
you went back inside,
when it comes to that.
she
Yeah.
was like, I said shit again. And I had said, if anyone says shit again today,
She said
there's
the
going to be
S word. She
there's going to
didn't
be
say
a
the word.
consequence tomorrow. Well, she did say it again after I,
Oh, okay.
anyways, but that's where it is. But I'm just like, yeah, they're just in that age where they're just like so curious about all this stuff.
Yeah. And for our listeners, what I will say is obviously Andy and I have very loose idea. Like, to me, it's the bad words are if they're saying someone's stupid.
Yeah.
If it's a word used against someone to hurt them, that is a far worse word than using shit, fuck, ass, whatever.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna. I mean, I guess you are giving punishments out for using bad words, but like that was more just you're annoyed with the
Yeah,
persistence
it's just
of
like,
it.
Let's stop. And we can't have a house where they're constantly saying shit. That does seem a little
can't.
over the line.
And we explained to them like other people are offended by these words, so you don't need to use them.
Yes.
But anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Heroin,
Don't want to mess with that stuff.
never.
Mm-mm.
Do you have anything you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Look outside, by the way. It is.
Oh, it's holy shit.
There is
It's
a
windy.
crazy storm happening.
I had a crazy thing happen at the skate park with the dog. You would have lost your fucking mind.
Oh no.
So we went to the skate park, and it was like a Friday night is when the skateboard class is. So the skate park, it's like a very cool skate park. So it's bumping regardless, right?
Okay.
So super, super busy. And then there's this class for kids. So there's probably like, I don't know, 18 little kids in the mix of this madness skate park where there are some really good skateboarders. Like this is a skate park that pros go to a lot. So there's some really good skateboarders, but then just so many people. The class tried to like cordon off part of the area with like cones, but it's still just like mayhem, but like whatever.
Oh God.
Chaos, but kind of fun.
Okay.
So in all of this chaos, there's a man with a guitar sitting in like a folding chair, right? Like up on a hill, perched down looking at all this stuff. That, if I'm going to be honest, I was like, that fucking guy. right? Like
Of course.
Okay.
Find another. This is not.
No, but it gets crazier.
He needs
Hold
so
on.
much attention. Oh my God, you need
Yes.
so much attention.
That is a good point. Okay, but don't get too ahead of yourself because this is not going where you think it's going.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that this guy, I'm like, who is this guy that's coming on a Friday night? I'm like, I bet you come here all the time to play your guitar. And like, as you're saying, like, look at me, look at me. So, and there's also a big dog with this guy that's like tied up to like one of the lamps right there. And the whole time, anytime I look over, the dog's like digging a hole in the dirt, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just mayhem. I'm standing in this like kind of the sidewalk to sort of leave. And there's like a fence between me and the skate park, right? Mm-hmm. Not exactly where I'm standing, but very close to that. There's like the big long fence to like, I don't know, keep people safe, I guess, from like boards flying out. So all of a sudden, this kid comes walking towards us that's like going to exit. And a bunch of the parents that were all watching, the little kids, are like, hey man, you are incredible to this kid. And I looked down and I was like, oh yeah, I'd seen this kid who's probably like 11, like ripping it up. And I was like, oh, there is that kid. But like he had made such an impression on people that all of these people were like, hey man, like great job. And just seems like some really nice, like preppy skater kid, I would describe, right? So he's walking down, and then I see guitar guys packing up. And he comes down, and I'm like, oh shit, are you the dad of really good skateboarder kid?
Oh, interesting.
Which I'm like, oh, that is a twist of events, but also sort of makes sense in a weird way.
I guess if your kids live like spending so much time at the skate park, you're like, well, I have to have my joy as well, so I'm going to play my guitar with
and
my
everybody's
big dog.
just watching my son. I need a guitar so somebody notices me and my crazy big dog. But so the kid takes the dog, what's on a leash, and is about to like start trying to navigate this sidewalk that has a lot of people, and there's a couple dogs with parents of the skateboard class that I'm in. So the kid starts skating through.
Oh, on the skateboard with the dog. Oh, boy.
With his big dog, and the big dog sort of kind of starts riling up one of the other dogs, and then all of a sudden just goes for the dog. So it's just mayhem. This is 3 feet in front of me.
Oh, God.
It's so crowded, though. I'm not the guy to get involved. Like, it's like it's that many people. And so the owner obviously is turning around. It's like, what the hell? Get your dog, right? And the dad, like, could give a fuck as far as, like, timing goes.
I hate him.
Is just slowly walking.
Oh, my God.
Finally,
go fuck yourself with your guitar.
Oh, it's going to get so worse for you. Get ready.
Oh, no.
I'm glad you're sitting down.
It.
I'm glad you're sitting down.
Handle it.
Then, thank God, finally the dad gets to the dog and rips the dog off and like pushes the dog out of the way. And then the kid, is like freaked out and flustered and keeps moving forward with the dog. And the owner and pretty much everybody is looking at Guitar Man and was like, what the hell? And Guitar Man the entire time just had the biggest grin on his face, smiling.
No.
It was the craziest shit I'd ever seen.
The fuck?
Like, that was his move. No, I'm so sorry about that. It was just huge.
Smiling is so grotesque. That's like a grotesque move in that moment. Was the dog okay?
Yeah, the dog was fine, fortunately. A little rattled, obviously.
Oh my God.
It was fucking bonkers.
Oh, the smile is creepy.
The smile is crazy.
I truly would have lost it. That's one of those situations where I feel like in my older age, like I'm chilling out a little bit and able to pause, think about it, Is it worth it? Usually
No, you would
not.
have lost your fucking mind.
I would have gone off on that guy.
Yeah.
And that's why I make people uncomfortable.
This is the weird. You want to know the weird thing about all of this?
Yeah.
Is like I bet that kid, knowing what I saw on the skateboard, and then the dad with the guitar, and then the dog incident, like he's probably going to the Olympics. This kid. But doesn't that sort of ring true in the weirdest sort of way?
You put all of the dysfunctional family dynamics together, and that kid is going so
all
far
the fucking way
because he needs to escape the dysfunction. And there's a lot of tension because he is succeeding at something in a way that the dad never has, certainly not guitar. And oh my God.
It's crazy.
He really is going to the Olympics.
Yeah.
You should get to know that kid.
It'll probably be there
Teddy
next
can
week.
say, I skateboarded with an Olympian.
Yeah.
You snowboarded with an Olympian.
Oh, multiple. Sure.
Grant Watanabe.
Grant. Sure. Yeah, that's probably the most likely. When I said many, I knew so many pro snowboarders
In the Sun Valley, because that was the place to be.
Yeah. Okay. So that was really crazy. The other thing that I was going to say, totally off track, but I'd never thought of before. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They all have got the fucking word day in there. All of them. Now, are we the only language that does that? Or do lots of languages do that?
Oh, interesting. Okay. I was very disappointed in this up until you brought up other language. But like Lundi, Mardi, Mercredi.
Oh, interesting. Keep going.
They do have D.
This is French?
Yeah. Lundi, Mardi, Mercredi. No, I think there's one or two.
Lunes, martes, miércoles, domingo, jueves, viernes. There's a lot of A's
Else,
in
Sábado.
domingo. Sábado and domingo, but those are the weekend ones. So
Interesting.
But I'm so curious of all language. Isn't that interesting? I could see how disappointed you were right when I brought it up. But then if you really think about it, it's a bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah, but it makes sense.
Do you know any other languages?
Here are days. There are days. No, I don't.
Mm.
And, you know, you and I have dreams about living in France someday for a period, not a permanent situation. We just like to live like a couple of our golden years there.
Okay.
Or maybe just one even.
No, you want to get the lay of the land for longer than a year.
I'm like, we better get on it because, you know, your brain, our brains lose like the phrase over the hill. Like your brains are growing at separate, you know, kids can learn languages. They can absorb everything pretty easily. Now we're in a fight to retain the cells.
Oh, good Lord.
We're not like the hopes of learning a whole new language. Not that it can't be done, but it takes a Herculean, a hero's effort. So we should probably get on it now.
How much of a time commitment is that?
I don't know, but it seems it's big, huge.
I feel like we just do the learning later too.
But it becomes bigger and huger the more you wait.
But I'm hoping there's more time for it in those golden years.
Yeah, we don't have time. That's the thing.
Like, am I going to do an hour like Duolingo listening on my headphones every day? There's no way.
So every 6 months or so, I sign up for Duolingo.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's a sickness at this point. And I now have I have the French, what's it called? Typewriter, or the French keyboard on my phone.
Okay.
And then I have the English keyboard on my phone.
Okay.
But for Duolingo, you have to download the French keyboard so that you can write the answers in with all the accent aigus and whatever.
Yeah.
But it's so annoying because it constantly switches to the French keyboard for me.
when you're just texting normally?
Yes.
Just turn it off, and then like literally a toggle in.
I should probably just do
It's like
that.
one of the green toggle switches on the iPhone.
Oh, okay, I'll do that. But okay, well then this isn't that interesting. But Duolingo is persistent. So basically I sign up every 6 months. It harasses me. Duolingo is constantly telling me, you got to get on it. Like, blah, blah, blah. It's been a while. Like, it guilts you. It makes you feel ashamed. And then I get off it. And then, like, 2 months later, back on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, well, let's move on. Let's talk about drugstores. Ranking drugstores.
Oh, yes.
We wanted to talk about this because the other day, you and I don't know if we necessarily saw eye to eye, but we just realized, like, oh, this might be a thing. I was at Walgreens and just had like kind of an off experience with their FedEx/photo department. And that area of the store was in such disarray that I was like, Elizabeth, if corporate had been there that day and saw how disarray the section of the store was, they would have fucking blew a gasket. And Elizabeth was like, have you been to any Walgreens? And I was like, whoa, shots fired at Walgreens. But you think that Walgreens is not that high up on the hierarchy of drugstores.
I think it's pretty low on the food chain. Now, I will say drugstores are kind of like a dying breed. We got Express Scripts, we got Target, we have other ways. Target, I will say, is the highest, like in terms of having a nice drugstore.
But isn't that usually a CVS inside a Target these days?
I don't know, actually. CVS, I would say, is mid-range, although it depends. But Walgreens is the Walmart of drugstores.
Really?
Yes. Like, you do not have high expectations going in there. You want to get in and out as fast as possible, I think. Now, I will say a lot of this can be, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's different in different parts of the country. Regional. Like, because I also wanted to rank fast food places, which is very regional.
Well, let's start with the drugstores for a minute, because to me, I think regional is the name of the game, like you're talking about, because there's some areas where I feel like growing up in St. Louis, Walgreens was the nicer one. Can you think of a different chain that
we
exceeded?
would go to, like, I forget if it was called Lucky's or Thrifty's.
Okay.
There was one that had ice cream.
Oh, yeah. I think that's Thrifty ice cream.
And I loved that ice cream scoop. It was basically like a cylinder. They would like stab the ice cream in the cylinder. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
So like the ice cream cone would have a cylindrical scoop on it. It was so cool.
Okay.
And I loved that ice cream. But
in LA, let me just give you 3 and then rank them.
Okay.
Walgreens.
Okay.
CVS.
Okay.
Rite Aid.
Oh, you just threw a wrench in. Okay. Walgreens. Okay. Rite Aid. CVS.
Wait, so start over.
Walgreens on the bottom.
Uh-huh.
Rite Aid. CVS.
Huh. So, okay, you want to tell? I'm going to tell you something that messes me up with Rite Aid. There are Rite Aids that I've been to in LA that are garbage.
Yeah.
But have you ever set foot in the Beverly Hills Rite Aid? Holy fuck, is it a nice store? I've never been in a nicer drugstore.
Oh.
So, is it
I guess
also?
it really just depends on where you live. We're kind of getting the shit.
Is that what it is?
And I will say, like, the CVS near us is not that nice. It's fine.
No, there's the one. Yeah, that's true.
It's just fine. But
there's like 4 CVS's in our neck of the woods, and those are not created equal at all.
Listen, the CVS that I go to the most frequently, I find gross. But what I will say,
yeah,
is that's how low I hold a Walmart. Like, I expect walking into a Walmart is akin...
Are you talking Walgreens?
Walgreens.
Uh-huh.
Is akin to walking into like the 42nd Street Times Square subway station Like,
wow,
you're,
that's fired.
yeah, it would take so much for me.
Okay, and then if we're going New York, Dwayne Reed.
Well,
In New York, it's really Dwayne Reed versus Walgreens, right?
There aren't that many to compare. Yeah, I would always go to Dwayne Reed.
Me
but
too.
Also, I think I have to say this. I think drugstores are like on their way out.
You heard it here first.
I think medication, like Target and for that matter, Walmart, like
has all that stuff. Besides
You're
the
one-stop
yeah.
shopping. It's very rare to need to go to a pharmacy. I think the pandemic revived pharmacies a little bit, like CVS, because that's where you go to get vaccinated. But overall, I think that they're fading out. And you see that they don't have the money to spend on the overhead of keeping up. Like, let's change these carpets. There's a huge black stain right here. What is that? I'm trying to get cough medicine for my kid where they're immunocompromised.
Yeah.
What is the stain?
Yeah. I actually went to that CVS that you're talking about, and they had like the full cleaning crew was there. Like I walked in when it was like cleaning crew day.
Splurge day.
Like there were 2 people like on the windows entering it and the like sliding doors, and then there were multiple people inside going around dusting and stuff. And I was like,
that's
they have
great.
like a whole team that
That's
comes
nice. You do a better job, but
So do you want to do a little fast food restaurant real quick?
yeah, real fast. But I did want to say, I don't know why I just thought of this, but do you find it funny? Like our kid saw a movie at school that's a little questionable, but it is a kid's movie. But we were talking, I was just looking outside at the storm that apparently is happening, and that our kid, this like crazy sleet snow stuff that we're getting, our kid was like, let's call it splooge, because that's what they called it. Sploosh. That's what they call it in the movie. I'm like, I don't want to please don't say sploosh.
No.
But you can't say why. More questions follow. You can't say, let's not say it, because more questions follow, and then we're in a heroin situation.
I would say much worse than
much worse
situation.
than heroines. By the way, so I don't remember when I learned this, but like, do you know how mind blowing it is going to be like, there's semen?
Splooge?
Is it pee? No. It's this whole other thing. From the same place? Yes.
Different tubes, though. In
That's
case you
good.
didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I did know that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not taking the bait with that whole. I don't
well,
wanna
yeah,
talk
we don't
anymore
need to go.
about that.
I don't want to like turn it into a big conversation. What was I going to say? Ranking restaurants.
Okay.
Again, extremely regional. However, what I will say across the board, from coast to coast, tip top of, the Canadian border down to the lowest of the low, is Taco Bell. Give me a Jack in the Box. Give me a, I don't even fucking know. Taco Bell, if you're eating at Taco Bell, and I have had some negative experiences, not even eating it, but just being near it. Also, I will say in Los Angeles, you don't frequently hear about like gun violence at Wendy's. You hear it at Taco Bell. It's always at a Taco Bell parking lot. There's gun violence. So I might be losing our lucrative, what's that called?
I'm Team Taco Bell over here, so I'm keeping that contingent.
Are you?
Yeah.
Now, hang on, Andy. Don't just lean into it because I'm leaning out of it.
Okay.
You got Taco Bell in St. Louis, Missouri.
That was gross. That
8
was
years ago.
disgusting.
The smell in our car
Something was off.
was worse than rotting roadkill. Like, I cannot even put label to the smell.
That's true.
Did you eat that?
I don't think I think I just ended up eating the chips and cheese nachos.
Okay.
I didn't eat the whatever that meaty thing was. But I've had Taco Bell in the past year, probably 6 times, I would say. Like there are times where like
What?
I'm out and about and just need a little something, and I'll get like one soft taco and a chips and cheese, and that's like a great little snack.
Oh my God.
So
I
I'm
had
not
no idea.
I'm not just playing devil's advocate, and I think there are times where it can be great. The problem with it is this is how they get you. You go
No taco that has meat, dairy, vegetables in it should be $1.99 or less, or like 50 cents or whatever they're selling their food for.
every LA taco is like less than that. Like all the good street tacos.
Oh, okay. Is that true?
Yeah. You can get plenty of street tacos for less than a Taco Bell taco.
Okay.
I don't think
Then I
that's,
stand corrected.
I don't think that.
But I
holds
would
up.
pick that street taco over Taco Bell any day. Any day. Here's what I will say. When we first moved to Los Angeles, I don't know why.
Del Taco, baby.
I thought that, so there are a few Mexican chain restaurants here.
Sure.
There's T-Bell. There's Del Taco.
Mm-hmm.
There is, what's the one that has like black and white is kind of nicer? It's,
Right.
I used to love it. We just don't go there. There's another one that's better. It had like a salsa bar.
El Pollo Loco.
No.
Poquito Mas.
Poquito Mas.
Oh, Poquito Mas is
Which is
fucking
very good.
Yeah. That's I don't consider that in the same. That's
Yeah,
not a
different
national
league.
chain.
So Del Taco, for some reason, I thought more on the on the level of Poquito Mas.
Oh no.
And when we moved here, I was like so excited that there was Del Taco. We had moved from New York, craving good Mexican food. I remember because I was staying with my sister for a while. She just had my nephew.
Yeah, we went all the time.
We went multiple times a week to Del Taco, and I was like, this is Anna Marie was like, okay.
Yeah.
But I was like, it is so good. And then it started to turn, and I was like, then I started to realize a little bit more of kind of what we were dealing with. And I was like, oh, I had it very wrong. Like Del Taco is a couple steps up from Taco Bell. I'd say Del Taco, McDonald's, Wendy's. I do love a Wendy's Frosty.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Wendy's recently coming back
great.
from our cabin.
Great.
And I got a baked potato, and similar to your Taco Bell, like this, I didn't touch it because the smell, I was like, this is really bad. So not, a few points off of Wendy's, but then you get into your CPKs. We're talking Cheesecake Factory, different.
That's a whole different conversation.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I almost feel like you're sort of out of touch with this stuff a little bit. Like,
that's fair. What I will say is there's so much good food in LA that's inexpensive and easy and fast.
but I'll fuck with the CPK or a Cheesecake Factory from time to time. Love it.
Of course.
Yeah, no shame.
Well, I'm curious how people rank things. Now, how would you rank fast food top to bots?
I'd have to know who was in there.
Okay, let me give you some.
Okay, cool.
Del Taco, Jack in the Box, Taco Bell, McDonald's,
Jesus.
and there's another one.
Burger King?
Burger King.
Okay. From like best?
Yeah.
This is so hard. I'm going to go McDonald's best because it's most consistent nationally. Then I go.
Oh, you're looking at national
I am.
consistency.
Oh, and if we do this in our neighborhood, it is like a shit show. The Burger King is like gone now because like that was not a good Burger King.
Okay. I have a soft spot in my heart for Burger King because my mom used to get. They had these little cinnamon rolls called Cinnamonies.
Yeah.
They were
There's
so good.
Cinnamonies at Burger King.
And she would actually like host people for a brunch, and she would go and buy a shit ton of Cinnamonies and then put them out on trays as though she had made these beautiful little tiny cinnamon rolls. and not tell anyone that they were from Burger King.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I would probably go McDonald's, Del Taco, Taco Bell, Burger King.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And wait, there was one missing. Jack in the Box.
Oh man, that one's really hit or miss.
And
Actually,
Wendy's.
sometimes Jack in the Box can really deliver, so I'll put them in third.
Okay, let me ask you a follow-up question. How often are you eating fast food? Like truly?
Oh, not that often. When I go to McDonald's, it's usually with the kids.
Yeah.
If I'm going to McDonald's without the kids, it's
Dark times.
no. It's not dark times. It's just a sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle breakfast situation.
Okay.
Which like I did the other morning. Remember, I brought you back a hash brown.
Which is not good, by the way.
The hash brown?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, so not that often.
I was just thinking about one time you made me laugh so hard. Not that in the state you were in, but you were feeling very low.
Yeah.
You had a very low day.
Yeah.
And you were like, I think I need to just go and like be off doing something. And I was like, go, please. And I thought you were going to like hit up Josh or Zach or Pete or someone and be like, hey man, do you want to like go get a beer? I want to talk my feelings out, or like, I just want to be around a bro and whatever, play. Yeah. What are those video games that are pinball? And you came back way earlier than I thought you would. Mm-hmm. And I was like, where did you go? And you were like, I went to the place where my outsides could feel as bad as my insides. Yeah. I wanted my whole body to match and link up. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what did you do? And you were like, I went to the Glendale Gallery and I had Cinnabon.
Yeah.
And I ate the whole fucking Cinnabon sitting at the food court all by myself. I ate the Cinnabon and then I came home.
That there is something about, I love a Cinnabon, but you start feeling bad midway
almost
through
instantly?
it. Yeah, but it does give you this feeling, like you feel it. Like, and if it's really, really dark days, real dark days, at the Glendale Galleria, there's a Charlie's Philly cheesesteak place, and that is just like the grossest of gross. Like
that, you know
so
what
bad.
my that is?
Yeah.
Like if I ever do this, it's time to like worry and be like, maybe we should call your therapist. And Panda Express.
Oh, that's interesting.
If I get Panda Express, things have gone off the rails.
But here's the thing. There's probably days where like Panda Express hits so good. Like that it's so good. No. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. Yeah.
I just want to say
I'm sorry too.
What?
To our listeners.
Yeah, I feel like I came across as a bit of a food snob, but I think I am in a way, in the sense, not that I need fancy. I don't eat fancy food, honestly. I'm not a foodie or anything, but I generally find fast food pretty gross. And that's a big difference for me. I feel like back in the day, I would have been stoked to have it.
I think it's also much harder for a vegetarian in general.
Yes.
Because there's also, there are times where fucking fast food hits so good. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's awesome.
It slaps.
Yeah. It slaps.
Yeah. I guess as a vegetarian, I do have like, the odds are already not in my favor. So
yeah.
Thank you for saying that. That explains a lot.
I was apologizing to our listeners just for the last 20 minutes of this show.
Well, listen, I felt that way about The Note. People love that.
Oh.
And this is, again, nobody's listening, right? We're talking about what we would talk about.
Yeah,
this is truly, these are the conversations we would have, for better or worse.
I think it would be fun. Let's maybe this week on Instagram, we can put up like a poll on the drugstore poll and a food poll. Can you do polls that have more than one thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Maybe we'll do that.
Okay. Why don't you put that on your to-do list?
Yeah, I will. Because I'm actually really curious on the drugstore one, especially what like people's fave is.
Mm-hmm. Last but not least, next week, I'll just write this down. I have an idea of something I want to bring up next week.
Oh, great.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Remember to, follow us on Patreon, please. We've got a bunch of new patrons, I think from my other podcast, but I'm very excited about it. And I'm doing a once weekly reading of a not fun, but interesting obituary and or death poem.
Fun.
Sorry. That's patreon.com/totallylame.
All right.
And follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/nobody's listening right. And we will be back next week.
All right.
Good night.
Night night.
Shh.